Explanation of the book, Dopamine Nation, How to Break Free from Addiction to Instant Pleasure, written by Dr. Lemke. Introduction to the book. Why are we a nation addicted to dopamine? The book Dopamine Nation explores how modern society has become stuck in a cycle of addiction to quick stimuli that release dopamine, the neurotransmitter responsible for feelings of pleasure and reward. Humanity today lives in a world full of digital stimuli, instant food, and quick rewards, which makes the brain accustomed to a constant flow of dopamine. But this condition leads to a decline in the feeling of natural happiness and an increase in feelings of emptiness, anxiety, and depression. Through scientific research and case studies of her patients, Dr. Lemke explains how we can regain control of our lives through deliberate austerity and rebalancing dopamine in the brain. Chapter 1. How does dopamine work in the brain? 1. What is dopamine? Dopamine is a chemical that acts as a neurotransmitter in the brain and is responsible for stimulating the feeling of reward and satisfaction after doing something enjoyable, pushing a person to seek out new pleasure and rewards. Its primary role in addiction of various types. When a person eats delicious food, achieves success in a video game, or gets a like on a post on social media, dopamine is released into the brain, giving him a feeling of happiness. 2. How does dopamine cause addiction? The problem begins when a person becomes dependent on the continuous stimulation of dopamine through means of quick pleasure, such as browsing social media sites, eating sugary foods and fast food, playing electronic games for long periods, watching pornographic films or excessive consumption of entertainment content. Over time, the brain adapts to this constant flow of dopamine, making it less responsive. This means that the person will need larger amounts of stimulation to feel the same pleasure, leading to increased consumption and pathological attachment to these activities. Chapter 2. The Cycle of Addiction. Why do we always need more? 1. How does pleasure turn into addiction? When dopamine is constantly stimulated, the following happens. 1. At first, the person feels happy when doing the activity, such as watching videos or eating sweets. 2. After a while, the effect of dopamine decreases, and the person feels that he needs more pleasure to get the same effect. 3. The person begins to increase the dose of the addictive behavior, increasing the hours of playing, eating more sugar, etc. 4. After a while, the activity loses its real value and becomes just a compulsive habit that he cannot stop even if he no longer enjoys it as much. 2. The balance between pain and pleasure in the brain. The brain works on the principle of balancing pleasure and pain. When a person gets a lot of pleasure in a short time, the brain responds by increasing the feeling of pain later. For example, after browsing social media for a long time, the person later feels bored and emotionally empty. After eating a lot of sweets, a person feels sluggish and tired. After watching videos excessively, a person finds it difficult to focus on important tasks. This phenomenon is known as the law of dopamine balance, and it is the main reason behind feeling bored or empty after periods of excessive enjoyment. Chapter 3. How to break the cycle of addiction and restore balance to our lives. 1. The basic solution, deliberate austerity. Dr. Lemke suggests a strategy known as deliberate austerity, which is based on stopping sources of excessive stimulation for a certain period until the brain resets its sensitivity to dopamine, reducing the use of digital technologies and replacing them with more natural and slow activities, practicing fasting from instant pleasures to increase psychological endurance. Examples of deliberate austerity: staying away from social media for a week, trying to fast from sugar for 30 days, taking a cold shower to strengthen the ability to withstand stress, replacing sugary drinks with water only. Practice walking without a phone and enjoying nature. 2. Self-discipline as a key to freedom. Discipline is not just deprivation, but a way to regain control of oneself. When dependence on quick pleasures decreases, the brain begins to enjoy simple things again, such as real interaction with others, reading, and deep thinking. Exercising as a natural way to raise dopamine. Chapter 4. The impact of modern technology on the brain. 1. How do smartphones affect the brain? The mobile phone is one of the most powerful sources of dopamine today. Switching between applications, watching short videos, and responding to notifications all stimulate the brain constantly. This excessive use leads to a decline in the ability to focus and increased stress and anxiety. 2. Solutions to reduce technology addiction. Put the phone in airplane mode while working. Allocate daily hours without a screen, for example, after 8 p.m. Use a non-smartphone for specific periods. Reduce following fast news and focus on deep content. Chapter 5. True happiness doesn't come from quick pleasures. Finally, the book emphasizes that true happiness doesn't come from quick doses of pleasure, but from living simply and restoring the brain's natural balance. Enjoying the moment without constantly searching for stimulation. Doing meaningful work that increases a sense of deep satisfaction, such as learning, helping others, and achieving goals. Conclusion. The main message of the book. We live in an age that imposes constant stimuli on us that make us slaves to dopamine. The solution is not in complete deprivation, but in finding a healthy balance between pleasure and discipline. Controlling our desires and reprogramming our habits can give us freedom and true happiness. 3. The brain needs time to reset itself, but gradually returns to enjoying normal life after getting rid of the excess stimuli. What addiction do you think you need to get rid of?